Save on Cox Internet when you add Cox Mobile and get fiber-powered internet at home and unbeatable 5G reliability on the go. So whether you're playing a game at home,
yes, goal,
or attending one live, you can do more without spending more. Learn how to save at cox.com/internet. Cox Internet is connected to the premises via coaxial cable. Cox Mobile runs on the network with unbeatable 5G reliability as measured by Ookla LLC in the U.S. 2H 2023. Results may vary, not an endorsement. Other restrictions apply.
Build a routine with Ollie that supports your wellness needs, like getting your daily vitamins and minerals with Ollie's multi-gummies, or keeping your mood upbeat with all the vitamin D in Hello Happy. Give your gut health some support with probiotics, and wake up feeling refreshed after taking Ollie Sleep. Do wellness on your terms. Find Ollie at a Walmart or Target near you or at ollie.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
This is Optimal Health Daily. Alcohol and Weight Loss, your guide for losing body fat and having a social life. Part 1 by JC Deen of jcdfitness.com. And I'm Dr. Neil. Welcome back to Optimal Health Daily, where I simply read to you from the best health and fitness blogs for free. This is kind of like an audiobook, but with articles instead, and articles from a bunch of different authors, and always with permission from the sites, of course. Now on Fridays, that's where I answer your questions. Remember, you can send in a question by going to oldpodcast.com/ask or email your question to health@oldpodcast.com. Now, today's episode is a little longer than normal, so whenever that happens, I'll read the first half today and then finish up the rest for you tomorrow. So with that, let's jump right in and hear part 1 as we optimize your life. Alcohol and Weight Loss, your guide for losing body fat and having a social life. Part 1 by JC Deen of jcdfitness.com. Alcohol is an interesting drug. Among most people in the world, it's generally acceptable to consume regularly and has been abused by us humans for a very long time. People die every day from this drug, so yeah, keep that in mind. On a fat loss diet, drinking tends to be off limits because of the following reasons. Alcohol has no nutritional value. It's relatively dense at 7 calories per gram. It may cause us to overeat, lowering inhibition. And it can make us store fat more easily when combined with fatty foods. More on this in a bit. But alas, if you enjoy drinking and want to keep it a part of your life, whether it be for social or other reasons, this quick article is for you. Storing fat is much easier when drinking and dining. Our bodies are really good at storing fat, and when we mix alcohol into the picture, it gets even better with this process. When you eat a meal, the protein is broken down into amino acids for use in tissue repair and muscle protein synthesis. The carbs are broken down into glucose for the brain and used as energy or stored as glycogen by the muscles and liver. The fat is broken down into fatty acids and stored in your fat cells. Whether or not you lose or gain fat will depend on your calorie balance, like a calorie deficit, calorie maintenance, or calorie surplus. But when alcohol passes through your liver, it converts into something known as acetate, which is toxic to the body. So your system switches from using protein, carbs, and fat for fuel and turns to burning up the acetate. Alcohol alone contains no fat, protein, or carbs, and won't convert into fat that can be stored. When we consume alcohol with energy-dense fatty food, it creates the perfect fat-storing scenario. And if you're trying to lose body fat, or at least maintain your six-pack abs, you must have a strategy for incorporating alcohol into your diet. And if you've ever been out drinking before, you know how it lowers inhibition, making it easier to give into that large order of chili cheese fries and a few slices of pizza. We've all been there. Combine lots of drinking with all that fatty food while eating about your caloric needs for the day, and you're sure to store a good amount of fat that night. When dieting, getting drunk is much easier, so be careful and pace yourself. When you're purposely undereating to lose body fat, you're low on 2 things. 1, muscle glycogen, and 2, calories consumed, and a potential empty stomach depending on when you last ate. It's not unheard of to get drunk on fewer drinks when dieting. It's happened to me and many others I've coached. So keep in mind that enjoying drinks and managing your fat loss diet is much easier than you might think. If you happen to drink on an empty stomach, then the alcohol is going to hit you harder because there's no food in your system. So, absorption and the mind-altering effects will happen faster than if you had a meal with the alcohol. And if you're dieting, you're probably not walking around with a full stomach at all times. Here's how to minimize fat gain while still enjoying alcohol. There are two main factors that will enable you to limit fat storage on your fat loss diet. Those are, 1, keeping yourself in a dietary deficit, and 2, avoiding a high-fat intake during the day and around the meal you have drinks with. If you followed those two rules when drinking, you've pretty much covered all of your bases. In 4D Fat Loss, I've set up the diet protocols to keep you in a deficit during the week by alternating high and lower calorie days. But following the guidelines can be used regardless of how you're maintaining a dietary deficit. Hear those on tomorrow's episode. You just listened to part 1 of the post titled, Alcohol and Weight Loss, Your Guide for Losing Body Fat and Having a Social Life by JC Deen of jcdfitness.com. And I'll be right back with my commentary. You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job posts seen on other job sites. Indeed's sponsored jobs helps you stand out and hire fast. With sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates so you can reach the people you want faster. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. One of the things I love about Indeed is that it filters out incompatible applicants, making the process so much faster. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/health. Just go to Indeed.com/health right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/health. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Dr. Neil here for my commentary. You might have heard that drinking alcohol in moderation can actually be good for us. Specifically, you may have heard that drinking in moderation can reduce the risk of having a heart attack or experiencing a stroke, which is basically a brain attack. When someone suffers from a stroke, the brain doesn't receive blood and oxygen, so brain cells die. What does drinking in moderation actually mean, though? For those that were identified as male at birth, moderation means no more than 2 drinks per day. For those that were identified as female at birth, it means no more than 1 drink per day. Okay, but what's a drink? What does 1 drink really mean? Well, an example of 1 drink would be the typical 12-ounce beer. So like your standard 1 can of beer. Another example would be 6 ounces of wine. A shot of hard liquor like whiskey or gin, which is about 1.5 ounces, would also count as 1 drink. So let me stop and be clear here. Notice I use the word or as I was describing those examples. This means each of those examples counts as 1 drink. So if we were to have 12 ounces of beer or a can of beer, 6 ounces of wine, and a shot of whiskey or gin all in one day, that would mean we have had 3 drinks. Consuming 3 drinks means we've gone over the definition of moderation, no matter what gender we were identified at birth with. What happens then if we go over this amount? If we consume more than what's recommended based on our gender assigned at birth, and this goes on for years and years, this may now increase disease risk. Diseases like certain types of cancer, and oddly enough, an increased risk of having a heart attack or stroke. So again, like with most things health-related, everything in moderation, including alcohol, seems to be the theme. Now, does this mean everyone should consume alcohol in moderation? We'll talk more about that on tomorrow's episode too. So, that'll do it for today. Thank you so much for being a follower or subscriber to the show. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And I'll see you tomorrow where we'll finish up this post and where your optimal life awaits.